There you go, buddy.
Well, good evening, everybody. Tonight we're joined with the leadership from the Senate Republican Caucus and members, and the leadership from the House Republican Caucus and members. And I am proud to say tonight we stand here as one. We stand here as one to present to the taxpayers and the voters of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, I think one of the finest budget proposals, policy proposals that I've seen in the 15 years I've been here. Tonight we sent a balanced budget to the governor with no tax increases on the taxpayers of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. We have sent a bill to privatize the liquor system and hence bring revenues into the general fund through that privatization. And we have voted to drastically reform the public pension system here in Pennsylvania that has been bankrupting our budgets for almost a decade now. This is a good budget. These are good products. On March 3rd, when the governor gave his inaugural budget address, I remember well hearing him say, this is his proposal. It's full of billions of dollars of tax increases, schemes, gimmicks, massive spending that taxpayers didn't want. But what he said to us was, if you have a better solution, if you have a better plan, bring it forward. Well, Governor, we delivered it. We've delivered it, and we've delivered it well. This is a product that does more than stand up to criticisms. It's a product that we all stand here and defend and support. And I can tell you, the citizens and the taxpayers of Pennsylvania need to pay attention tonight. They got to pay attention to what's in this bill, the budget bill, the pension bill, and the liquor bill that we passed. Because I think the governor and the office, the front office, want to very quickly put a veto to them and slide them under a desk drawer and make them disappear. What we did tonight was principled. These were principles that the Republican caucuses have not just espoused for 6 months since he's been governor. We've been espousing these principles for years, and tonight we delivered. And so I'm proud to stand here with my colleagues, and very proud to say that the team that has worked together has done a well-done job. So it's my pleasure to introduce the Speaker for some comments. Speaker Terzai.
Thank you, Joe. Sure. To the Senate Pro Tem, Joe Scarnati, to Jake Corman, the Majority Leader of the Senate, to Dave Reed, the Majority Leader of the House, to Pat Brown, the Appropriations Chair in the Senate, and to Bill Adolph, the Appropriations Chair in the House, amongst all the other leaders and members of the House and Senate Republican Caucus. It has been outstanding working with you in delivering historic pieces of legislation here this evening to the governor's desk. Folks, in moving forward with this agenda, when each of us sat around and talked about the priorities, over and over again, we came back to our neighbors and friends back home. And we said, let's just take a common sense approach. We looked at the public pension reform, and we said, you know, taxpayers, they're willing to pay their share to make sure that there are good services, important services. But with respect to pensions, out of those almost 13 million Pennsylvanians, those in the private sector, they have 401ks. They've been there since the mid-90s. Many of our friends and neighbors who work at nonprofits, they're happy if they have 401ks. Nobody has pensions in the 21st century. And the younger people, they've been saying, we like the portability of 401ks. And we don't mind paying taxes, but we don't understand why the public sector hasn't moved into the 21st century. If we're going to pay taxes, we want to know that you're moving into the 21st century. And tonight we passed benefits reform that reflects what the taxpayers of Pennsylvania are experiencing in their own lives and what they expect the public sector to do as well. With respect to moving to a private approach to the sale of wine and spirits, Pennsylvanians travel all over. They certainly travel to their neighboring states. Delaware, New Jersey, New York, Maryland, West Virginia, Ohio, and they know that they can go into a grocery store and buy a bottle of wine. And they look at Pennsylvania and they say, we are so antiquated here. Why can't Pennsylvania go ahead and reform itself and move towards the private sector? We're still going to tax it, regulate it, license it. Let's get out of this conflict of interest where we're selling wine and spirits and also being the folks that have to enforce the appropriate sales. Two common sense measures which show that we're moving into the 21st century. And then I'm telling you, when I talk to my neighbors and friends, and they heard about this tax increases that Governor Wolf was putting on the table, 20% increase in the personal income tax, a 10% increase in the sales tax, an expansion of the sales tax to nursing home services and professional services and to room and board stays. I mean, they were there like, oh my goodness, please tell me you're going to stop that. Please. Tell me that you can actually invest in public education and continue to fund human services and corrections without this tax increase. And we did. We are so proud of the work that we have done together as a team. And Governor Wolf, I would only say to you this. You can be about the status quo. You can say that everything has to stay just the way it's been, or you can move Pennsylvania forward. If I were you, Governor, I'd sign these bills and I would declare victory. I would remember that Pennsylvanians are looking for significant change. And the legislature did that tonight by putting these important bills on your desk. Senator Corman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Just brief. You know, the Senate Republicans and House Republicans did something today that you probably didn't suspect. We just helped Governor Wolf get a second term. If he signs these historic bills, signs pension reform, which the Commonwealth clearly needs, if he signs liquor privatization, which the public's been asking for years, and signs a budget with historic investments in education without raising taxes, that's a pretty darn good thing to run on. We may have messed up here today. But that's a pretty darn good thing to run. And I want to address education because that's really important. Because I know my good buddy, Senator Hughes and others have been batting around this number about $8 million. That's ridiculous. First of all, $100 million to the basic ed subsidy. $25 million on top of the $10 million last year to pre-K education. Over $500 million that we're paying to PSERS for the pension benefits that the school employees receive. But most importantly, billions of dollars in this fiscal year for construction projects. Construction projects are already completed. This isn't for new buildings. These are ones that they've already completed, that have been in the queue, that they are waiting for, that the state has statutory requirements to pay. And under the current structure of our appropriations, we couldn't pay it. And so that's billions of dollars that would be going to interest payments and to payments that they can't make. They're now going into the classroom. They're now being directed towards whatever the school districts feel is the best interest of those students. There's never been a fiscal year like this for the school districts of Pennsylvania. So this was a great day for the legislature. I'm very proud to work with Leader Reed. We got these jobs in November. Who would have figured we'd be here today? But with the great support of the members of the General Assembly who stuck together. We thought we could get help from the other side on some of these historic bills. We didn't. But our members stuck together and passed significant pieces of legislation today that will move Pennsylvania forward. And ultimately, if he so chooses, help Governor Wolf quite a bit. And we're happy to do it because it's in the best interest of Pennsylvania. Leader Reed.
Thank you very much, Jake. It is an honor to be here with our colleagues in the House and the Senate. And probably most importantly, the most significant part of this discussion today is when we began this term, we said we were going to do three things. We said we were going to put a bill on the governor's desk to balance the budget by June 30th. We said we were going to put a bill on the governor's desk to get us out of the liquor system. And we said we were going to put a bill on the governor's desk to reform our pension system in Pennsylvania. We have not only met our constitutional obligations, we have kept our word to the people of Pennsylvania. We're at a point now where the governor can very easily sign that bill. There is only one person who has the ability to shut down government in Pennsylvania today, and that is Governor Wolf. There is no reason for our students, for our human service agencies, or for the people of Pennsylvania in general to be held hostage for a protracted period because of a veto of this budget. We can continue to talk about other legislative priorities over the summer and into the fall, but there's no reason to have a budget standoff given the work that the House and the Senate have done together. We stood for the principles, the ideas, and the policies that our caucuses believe in. Unlike our colleagues across the aisle, who are very willing to spend money but not stand for the taxes needed to be able to spend those dollars. We put our money where our mouth was. We put up the votes, we passed the bills, now it's in the governor's hand. Hopefully the governor will take heed, he will respect the citizens of Pennsylvania, and we'll be able to work together going forward on other policy priorities. Thank you.
Thank you. I too want to express my thanks and gratitude to my colleagues for what has been a tremendous period for all of us in terms of what we believe is our achievements that are necessary to move Pennsylvania forward. Things that we've been talking about, excuse me, and working on collectively for many years. Things that we believe are necessary to ensure the appropriate relationship by the Commonwealth with our private sector, our job creators, and our families. And I think that's the theme that the governor had put on the table this year. What is going to be that relationship? He believes that government should expand and play a larger role in people's lives as a means of investing and then also growing to capitalize on those investments. We don't believe that. We believe the Commonwealth, as a place that is known as uncompetitive, a high-cost jurisdiction, needs to maintain its current relationship with the private sector, make targeted investments in our people, and then grow to capitalize on those investments. Our budget accomplishes that without new taxes and using responsible budgeting practices. The gimmick is not the accepted practices that we have used in this budget. The gimmick is instead raising taxes instead of using the money that's available to you that you've already raised from your people to balance your books. Taxes have to be the last result. The pension bill is about the same policy. It's about recognizing that over many years that the private sector has decided that these are risks in order for them to survive that they can no longer sustain. We have to realize that in the public sector and move towards a more sustainable system that not only protects our workers and their job security, but also the job security of those who pay the bills. This is a package that we all can be proud of that will definitely move Pennsylvania forward. Representative Adolph.
Thank you. It's certainly great to be here tonight. And all three pieces of legislation are all tied in together. And I say that because when you're putting together a budget that some people call are full of gimmicks, but then again, when you use the liquor privatization bill to help fund your budget, $220 million, that's not a gimmick. That's reality. That's reality. When you're looking at the expense side of your ledger and you're seeing the contributions that go into our pensions increase by over $500 million a year, you have to take a look at that. And that was just the public school employees. The SERS side was close to $300 million. So things have to change here. Things have to change, and like has been said before, this is real reform. And you talk about one-time gimmicks. No, we were sent here to be creative, to watch the taxpayers' money. And there's not gimmicks involved in this. This is creativity, it's good government, and it's good budgeting. And I'm proud to be part of this team, and I'm sure the taxpayers of Pennsylvania, comparing this budget with the governor's proposal, are pretty happy tonight, as we are. Thank you very much.